Great day. Daily discomfort is the price of success. And we're going to talk about that in depth today as we get started. If you guys are new to me, hello and welcome. I know I've seen some new followers, some new friends hanging around. My name is Jerisha Hawk. I am from Detroit, Michigan. I'm a high-ticket sales coach, and I teach coaches and consultants how to elevate their price points, package a high-ticket offer, and teach them how to sell their services consistently in a very simple and strategic way. And if you were here yesterday, we had a fantastic conversation. Hi, guys. I see some familiar faces and some new ones. Hello, hello, hello. Hi. Hey, everybody. And we were talking a lot about perspective and about like what's really required for you to evolve and how do you continue to grow and evolve as a person when maybe people who are around you don't understand what's going on. And I really wanted to, and somebody slid in my DMs yesterday. I had a couple people reach out to me yesterday after yesterday's live stream, asking me, well, Jay, it's really, we were talking about how important it is to elevate your circle as you grow. And it might be time for you to like turn your soil over and plant new seeds. Somebody slid in my DMs. I had a couple people reach out to me yesterday, asked the question around how do I get in rooms with more giraffes, and also state the comment saying that, Jay, it's difficult to make new friends as an adult. And I really want to dive into that a bit more because I think that thought process, that mindset, that belief that, oh, this is going to be hard for me to do, so I can't do it, is something that comes up for us often in our lives. And it is something that if you do not practice how to overcome that, it'll be the very reason or the very thing that stops you from ever truly progressing and stops you from ever really actualizing the things that you want in life, right? So, my tea is so good. Had to take a sip of that. But what came up for me is when people say making new friends as an adult is hard, simplifying my business model is hard. When people say like, selling my services is hard, are these things actually hard or are they just uncomfortable? And anytime you're internally in your mind saying things to yourself like, this is hard for me to do, working out is hard, waking up early is hard, getting out of bed is hard, whatever it is, we have to make, like, you have got to start to become more aware and become more conscious of the language that you're speaking and what you're feeding your subconscious and what you're choosing to believe. Because, and really asking yourself what's true, what's the actual fact? Is selling your services hard or is it really uncomfortable? It might be a bit of both. Is getting out of bed hard? No, it is not. It is uncomfortable if you may do it at an hour that is, earlier than what you may normally get up. Is making new friends as an adult hard? I do not think it is hard. I think it is uncomfortable because as we've grown, I've developed much healthier and better friendships as an adult than I ever did as a child. Most of my friend circle are people that I've met in the last like 3 to 5 years. Before that, I had maybe like 2 real friends and my cousin. Shout out to Portia. Shout out to Nicole Montgomery, Nikki Nicole. Like, those are my 2 friends I've had like my entire life. But other than that, all my circle has really evolved in just the last 3 years, 4 years of my life. So is it hard to make new friends as an adult? No, I just think it's uncomfortable. And I think and this goes to the quote that I want to share with you guys today. And like the point that I want to make is that daily discomfort is the price of success. A lot of the time we will put this label of it is hard on it and then stop before we even start. We will quit before we begin. And we will just give up way too soon, way too fast. And it's really about like I think the actuality of what's really happening, what's really taking place is that you don't want to be in a state of discomfort. You don't want to put yourself in a new room. You don't want to walk up to a stranger and say hi and spark small talk conversation to figure out whether or not there's an organic connection. You don't want to put yourself out there and sell your services. And a huge reason why we don't want to put ourselves in this situations of discomfort is because there's this underlying fear that many of us have, right? Like we have this fear that like, what if they don't like me back? What if they don't want to be my friend? What if they don't want to buy my services? What if I make this investment and it's the wrong one? And then we will create a whole story about what could happen if that fear were to come true. And we will create a whole narrative around it to the point where we don't do anything. We're like, you know what? This might not be the right investment. I might make this investment and it might not work out. I might not show up. I might not do the work because I have a habit of doing that. And then I won't do anything. It'll be a waste of money. I'm going to just go to Chick-fil-A, get a number one, and go buy some new bundles from Happy Hair and call it a day. And it's like, sis, bro, are those actions really going in alignment with what the results you want to get? No. So I think we really have to shift the perspective and be like, people always say, Jay, you always snatching edges. I'm going to need you to start snatching your own edges this week, today. Starting now. I need you to snatch your own edges. I need you to check yourself. Like, one thing about becoming really evolving in your leadership capabilities, becoming a stronger CEO, developing yourself is you have to learn how to coach yourself. So a lot of the time, I invest in coaching because I want to learn and grow and have somebody else snatch my edges or call me out or pull me up to their level of belief in me. I need to have people that I can borrow belief from at times where I don't believe it in myself. So you need those people who can see your blind spots and call you out and pull you up. But the other reason why I invest in really good coaching and why I spend time developing myself, reading books and doing all that is because it is also your responsibility to coach yourself. And that is the beauty of us being human. We have the capacity to do that. We have the brain power. We have the intellect and the capability to do that. So you need to start snatching your own edges. For real. Like, oh, that's hard. I don't want to do it. You need to sit yourself down and be like, is this really hard or is it uncomfortable? Why am I choosing not to do this when I know that this is in alignment with where it is that I want to go? Right? You need to start coaching yourself. And I think another thing it is that I think being human, which is I'm so grateful that we have all been born in a day and age where technology exists, where, everybody who's came before us so we could be like experiencing the abundance of the reality of like what the world is today right now, right? But one thing is your mindset is moldable. Your mindset is very much like a muscle. Like your brain is very much like a muscle. So the more that you work it out, the stronger that it gets. And as literally, Rob and Sharma been dropping all the gems. Like if y'all have not picked up the 5 a.m. Club, I'm gonna need you to go do that. Like just hop on Amazon and go order it. It's such a good book. And he has so many good like quotables, right? But one of the quotes that I read this morning is, you don't have the brain that you want. You have the brain that you earned. And I think that is so parallel and like paramount to everything else in our life. Like you don't have what you want, you have what you earned. So if you're sitting in a situation where you keep getting passed over for opportunities, you may be doing the work, but doing the work and showing up every day is not what is required for you to get a promotion. You're not positioning yourself. If you have a business right now and you've been thinking about this business idea for 2 years and my business still doesn't make money, or your spouse is looking at you like, babe, you keep making these investments in programs, you keep spending money, where's the money coming in? And you getting mad at him or you're getting mad at her, have you actually earned any results? Have you put in the work? Or do you just keep wanting it? Like wanting it and going after it are two different things. Wanting something and desiring something versus obtaining something and deserving something are two very different modes of action. There are two very different modes of being. And one thing that you must understand is not even just, I don't want you just to understand this logically. I want you to start to believe this like in your soul, is that to get from what you want, from where you are, like where you desire it and you want it, to obtaining it and deserving it, this bridge, the gap, is a series of steps of discomfort. It's just a road of discomfort, because you have, like, daily discomfort is the price of success. And if you want to get from where you are to where it is that you want to be, there will be sacrifices that are necessary and required for you to get there. So I think it's just important for us to keep that in mind. But I love that quote from Robin Sharma saying, you don't have the brain you want, you have the brain you earned. Or to put it another way, you don't have the brain you desire, you have the brain that you deserve based on how you've been operating it. So if your mindset right now is in a lack mindset, if you have a poverty mindset, if you have a mindset or belief system that people won't pay for my services, that I can't charge higher ticket, that it's hard for me to make new friends, that I can't go live on, like I'm bad on camera, like whatever it is, it's time for you to, like, those are choices. You are choosing to believe those things. And one thing is, you have got to start coaching yourself through those moments to voluntarily put yourself in positions of discomfort. That is something that it's not a blessing. It is voluntary practice. Like, it is not, God is not going to drop out of the divine and, like, push you to go do it. Like, we are people of free will, and he gave us free will. You have to voluntarily put yourself in positions of discomfort if you want to achieve the success that you desire. And honestly, for you to achieve the abundance that God, like, that you are entitled to, because we are co-heirs with Christ, and because we are in a position to receive the trust from the kingdom, you're entitled to it. But because you won't actively and intentionally put yourselves in positions of daily discomfort, you will never receive the full amount of what, the trust is available to you from the kingdom. I believe it. Even if I'm a Jesus girl. So if y'all are new to me and haven't found out yet, I'm a Jesus girl through and through. I'm saved by the second. I'm saved by the second. I'm still human and flawed. I'm saved by the second. I'm repeating that because somebody might catch me one day. Jay, the language, you snapping on homegirl at the red light. I'm saved by the second. I am. But I know God will give me grace. And I pray for the Lord to, soften my heart and to build me up. But I am a Jesus girl. And I really do believe that we are all co-heirs with Christ if you choose to be. And we are all entitled to the trust of the kingdom. But there are things that are required for you to receive that trust fund check in the mail. Like, God wants you to have an abundant and expansive life. Like, people always say, and I've heard people say this, that, Jay, I don't want to be greedy. I don't want too much money. Maybe that's you. Maybe you've even thought that. Like, I don't want to say that I want all these things. That's just too much. I can't have a closet full of red bottoms. That's too much. Like, I don't need all that. You might not need it. That's true. You might not need it. But by golly, if that's what you desire, that is what is on your heart's desire. It is available to you to have. And I think it's so interesting that we don't go outside and be like, God, you grew too many flowers this year. Like, bruh, you have way too many flowers out here in the dirt this year, Lord. It's too much abundance, God. Like, why are you trying to grow so many flowers? You're not out here looking at Mother Nature like, sis, why you keep growing trees? Like, why do you keep growing trees? Like, you don't need more trees. Why you keep growing trees? We never question Mother Nature or the Lord about the abundance that grows on this earth on a daily basis. We are never looking at the ocean being like, blue water, baby blue. What you keep making all these fish for? This world is abundant. It is constantly abundant. It is just overflowing with abundance. And guess what? You are like that. You deserve all of that too. You are like, it is, when you really put that in perspective, like, oh, I can't have this. Oh, that's too much. Sis, you too extra. Yes, I am extra. Do you know I'm a child of God? We are born extra. Like, yes, I'm extra. You should be too. Who you think you are? You forgot who you was? Let me remind you. Let me remind you. Okay? Yes, you are extra. Yes, you are. And you are abundant. So extra. Yes, Jamie, I'm so extra. Yes, I am. Expansive. Somebody's like, that's a huge mug. Yes, it is. Wanna know why? I live an expansive lifestyle. Okay, I'm trying to get all of the beverage in me today. Okay, Jay, why you got such a big mug? Why you got a small one? Why you playing small with your beverage intake in the morning? Why? We live in an abundant world. I'm trying to enjoy every bit of this herbal tea inside of my mug this morning. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Oh, I'm getting hot on this Tuesday. But all I'm saying is you don't have the brain or the mindset that you want. You have the brain and the mindset that you deserve, that you earned. You do not have the brain you desire. You have the brain that you deserve. So if you are sitting in a position right now and you are feeling salty about your situation, if you have been having these consistent thoughts of, oh, woe is me. And let's hop on another topic I think might resonate with everybody here. Oh, why do I keep dating the same type of men? Where they at? Where the good fellas at? Where the good sisters at? Where are the black women that build you up? Okay? Where are the the caramel macchiato sisters that want to build a brother up? Where are my light-skinned sisters at? The beige ladies in the room. Where are the good men at? Let me tell you something. This is from personal practice, because if you go on my Instagram timeline, if you go look at my old Facebook lives from 2 years ago, the reason why I think that, and this is, it's the same way across the board, but I love talking about relationships because it stings a little bit because it's personal. And it's because you have, you say you want a certain type of person. You say that you want to be a certain type of person, but you keep you keep playing the same actions of comfort. Right? We do not, in order for you to attract a different caliber of human being, you have to intentionally do things differently. I know for me, I didn't grow up in a really healthy, loving home environment. I had to teach myself what healthy love was. My parents didn't teach it to me. My grandma didn't teach it to me. My household did not teach it to me. But I can sit there and keep saying, well, I grew up without my mommy and daddy. I didn't see healthy examples of love. I only saw men that cheated. I only saw men that had kids and didn't support their children. And that could have been my narrative for the rest of my life. But I made a choice. I went on Amazon, legit. I bought a couple books. I downloaded some podcast episodes, and I chose, and it was uncomfortable. Even realizing and owning up to that this was my history. I'm that was a very uncomfortable thing. But for 2 years, I developed my own scorecard to figure out what healthy love looked like for me. How did I want to receive love? How did I want to give love? What were my boundaries around love and relationships? It was uncomfortable having those conversations with men saying, no, bro, you don't meet my quality. You don't meet the standards of what is required to be a successful employee at Jerisha Hawk's company, i.e. dating me, being in relation with me. We can't keep seeing each other. That was uncomfortable. I literally made a scorecard. Any brother that scored less than 70%, I gave them a phone call. Sure did. I hope none of them are watching right now, because it was they were really great conversations. But I've been talking about this for years. So I don't think it's by any, I'm overfilled with joy and gratitude, and I cry all the time when I really think about my fiance and the relationship that we have, because I have been working on me to even put myself in a position to receive the type of love that man gives me for 3 to 4 years before he showed up. And for you to, and I think the other thing is these daily discomfort is the price of success. There's also an extreme amount of faith that has to be consistently exercised, because there's all what did I read this? Oh, I wrote this in my journal yesterday, and I'm going to share this with you guys. Okay. I wrote this in my journal yesterday, and it says, are you willing of believing in something even when there is no evidence to support it, or when all the evidence around you is in the contrary? This is the question that I pose to myself. So one thing that when it comes to self-coaching, just ask yourself a series of questions and give yourself time to actually think through and process the answer. But the question was, are you willing to believe in something even when there is no evidence to support it? That is I think that's a very parallel definition to what faith is. Are you willing to believe in something even when there is no evidence to support it, or when all the evidence around you is in the contrary? And it's that is the definition of faith. And I believe, at least in this season, that's something that really resonates true for me. This one wasn't from a book. That question wasn't from a book. That was from my journal. And it's like, are you willing to keep going even when all the evidence around you is in the contrary, where there is no evidence that supports where it is that you're going? Because in 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, most of the time, when we're trying to go somewhere we've never been before, we very rarely ever have evidence around us that proves that that thing is possible for us, right? And that's why I think it's important to surround yourself with other giraffes, be in other rooms with people who've already accomplished what it is that you want to accomplish. You know, I always say, like, don't start at the beginning, start where somebody else left off. Like, invest in somebody else's program, invest in somebody else's methodology, because that sometimes you may not see the evidence in your own life, but seeing the evidence in somebody else's life may be enough for you to help strengthen your faith to keep you going that day. And this is why every program I do is always in a group environment, because I just think there's so much power, because there are moments and times where your belief will lack, where you're just like, I don't know if this is real, but you see somebody else getting it, you see somebody else eating it, you see somebody else achieving it, and you're like, all right, if they can do it, I know I can too. So you have got to, like, so it's just a choice though. Like, it's something, and that might be something that you have to work on, is, are you willing to believe in something even when there is no evidence to support it? And then still put yourself and still take the daily actions, be committed to those seasons of discomfort, because that's just what's required. It's no longer saying, like, well, what do I need to do? It's like, voluntarily put yourselves in positions of discomfort, so you can start building up that muscle and building up that resistance. And as you start to build up that resistance to your temptation, the temptation that does not serve you, you'll be able to more gracefully navigate those trials and tribulations. You guys get what I'm saying? So, you know, that's a question I really encourage you to ask yourself, and also ask yourself, like, where aren't you believing in yourself? Like, where are you not believing in yourself? Because, and get honest, like, coach yourself through that, get clear, become more aware. And then as you start to notice where those gaps are, fill those gaps with resources. Like, God, there was a reason why God didn't give us all the gifts. He gave us a lot of gifts, but he didn't give us everything, because we are meant to be dependent on each other. Like, we're meant to be in community. You know, if you're doing it alone, you're doing it wrong. You are doing it wrong if you are doing it alone. And you're struggling because you're doing it alone. We weren't meant to go through this stuff alone. We weren't meant to build a business by yourself. Like, nobody operating at a level of excellence does it by themselves. They all have a team. They all have an abundance or a multitude of people who are in their lives that are allowing them to execute at a level of excellence. Like, anybody you can think of that is a person of excellence, they are doing it in some sort of community. They have a team, like, they have multiple people pouring into them and supporting them through it. So, yeah, y'all, you have got to continue to build your willpower by putting yourselves in positions of discomfort voluntarily. So if your friend circle isn't where it needs to be, put yourself in new rooms. Go speak to new people. If you've been lurking inside of the Facebook group, yeah, I'm talking to you. If you've been in there just lurking, reach out to somebody. Post a comment. Say, introduce yourself. Like, when people are like, oh, Jay, I don't know how to build connection and make friends online. I'm like, are you just lurking in the background, just scrolling? You scared to even like the comment. You scared to even double tap. You be nervous. Don't hold on. Make sure your fingers are good. You're not trying to accidentally double tap on nothing. Like, start commenting. Like, just like if you were to go to an event in person, you would need to introduce yourself. When you join a new Facebook group, introduce yourself. You know, like, you scroll through there's a search bar in everybody's Facebook group. I'm always like, if you live in a certain area, search that Facebook group to see who else lives in your area. Type in Atlanta, type in Detroit, type in Chicago, type in Dallas, type in whatever. And then slide in somebody's DMs. This is where it is actually appropriate. Say, hey, I'm in Detroit. I'm in wherever. I see we're both in Jerisha's free Facebook group. Would you like to meet up for coffee? Be uncomfortable. But you might meet, like, that's how I met my business bestie, Jordan Gill. We met in a Facebook group. And we've literally, like, she's literally about to be the maid of honor in my wedding. We met in a Facebook group, y'all. I met my business bestie and, like, you know, my soul sister, my Gail to my Oprah, in a Facebook group. Quit playing. Your husband might be in my Facebook group. Your husband might be in my services that sell program, but you over here being scared, lurking. Put yourself out there. Like, take these online relationships offline. Like, there's just there's no excuse. Yes, it's not hard. It may not be easy, but it is very, very simple. And it, like, just today, just commit. What's one thing that I can do today to put myself in a position of discomfort? That might be introducing yourself in a Facebook group. That might be sliding in somebody's DM saying, hey, I see you constantly engaging in Jerisha's Facebook group. I'd love to do a virtual meetup. Maybe they can't meet in your area. That's cool. Guess what? There's FaceTime. Like, there's Zoom, there is Skype. Like, there are no excuses. And that's another thing. Like, one thing is, I think another thing, you guys, we have to be conscious of and coach ourselves around, or what excuses are we making? You know, oh, well, I live in, you know, some rando town where there's nobody here. I'm the only entrepreneur in the entire city. It's so hard for me to build community. I know that people said that before. And yes, I mean, there are, granted, I give grace and I give truth to the statement. However, like, you can get in the car and drive 30 minutes to go meet somebody. You can, you know, somebody said, I live in London. Girl, you're not the only entrepreneur in London. But even if there's nobody else in my Facebook group that's from London, or nobody else in whatever groups that you're in or in London, do a virtual meetup. Like, do virtual coffee chats. There is no excuse, guys. Like check yourself on the excuses that you're making as to why you can't have what you want. Because, like, 9 times out of 10, when you get really real about it, it's not that you can't have it. It's just, like, whatever is required for you to have it, it just probably makes you uncomfortable. And then it's like, okay, let's put, like, okay, am I going to choose today to put myself in a voluntary position of discomfort so I can grow? So I can rewire the neural pathways in my brain. So I can build up my strength and build up my resistance to feed into my temptation. Yay or nay? Right? So I'm going to answer a couple questions before I hop off. Somebody said, is my podcast on Google Play? My podcast is, like, literally everywhere. So it is on, it's the Jerisha Said podcast. It is on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play. We're, like, on, like, 15 different places where you can listen to podcasts. So we're just type in my name, type it in right. Jerisha Said, and you can find it anywhere. And then I'm going to answer a question that somebody asked yesterday. We were talking a lot about the giraffes and the turtles, and, like, how do you find rooms to be in where there are other giraffes? Like, how do you find rooms to be in where, you know, you can be around other people who get it and be around other people who, like, are operating at a higher level? And I'm going to tell you guys how I do it, okay? There's a ton of different ways to, like, find these rooms to be in and to find more like-minded giraffes. But one of the main ways that I do it is through the coaching programs and the masterminds that I join. So a really, really big thing for me is when I'm looking to hire a coach, like, I don't hire one-on-one coaches anymore, mainly because, at least for the season that I'm in right now, and really where I've noticed the largest return on my investment has been in community and group environments, because there's so much added benefit when you're working with somebody working with the expert, but also working with the other community of people who are all trying to achieve a similar result. So I'm in a program now where, but all the programs that I invest in, I look at, do they have community, and do they host in-person events? So are there, like, regular coaching calls that are in a group environment, and are there in-person opportunities for me to meet with these other people who are also in this program with me? So that is one way I think it's really easy. I don't say easy, but a simple way for you to automatically elevate your circle is join a group coaching program or a group mastermind, because that is paid. The reason why I say it is paid is because you need to make sure that there's a level of commitment that is consistent across the board, right? I've been lucky to cultivate and be in peer-led masterminds, but there's still a cost. So I've never really got that much value out of being in groups that are just completely free, because people don't show up. They're not like, 1 minute they're talking about they're building their business, and then 3 months later they're like, I'm not really serious about it. It's like, I look at the price point as a indicator on the level of commitment that these other people have. It's an indicator. It's not like the only thing, but it is definitely an indicator. So every program that I run personally, services that sell, there's 3 parts to it. There's a course, there's a community, and there's coaching. And we will be hosting our very first inaugural live event in the next year. So I'm just a really big believer in that. So the group coaching, who you go to look for coaching, I always say, look for individuals who have really strong groups that get consistent results for their community, but that host group coaching calls and also have the opportunity for in-person meetup. Because then everybody there is similar path. They made the same commitment as you, they're looking to achieve the same thing. The second thing is, every year I think you should be investing in your development. So go to a business conference, go to a summit, attend a retreat. I'm very fortunate. I go to them all the time because I'm either speaking at them or whatever, but I would find 1 to 2 conferences that align with your business objectives. So people say, well, which conferences should I go to? I don't believe you should just be in every room just nilly-willy running around, because I think it's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. It should be very intentional and pointed in. It should be intentional. So really look at what season of business are you in right now, and what in the next 6 months or the next 12 months, where do you want to be? What is the clear objective that you want to be in? So I like to pick events that I attend based off what my business model is, the gaps in knowledge or resources that I currently have, and I look at the people that I admire. Every year I pick 3 to 5 mentors virtually that, you guys will notice, why is my follower count so low on Instagram? It's because I regulate my timeline. I regulate my feed. And people are like, well, why don't you follow me back? I'm like, you are not posting content that edifies my soul. I love you, but I'm not about to be consuming your foolery on a daily basis. No, my timeline is regulated. But whoever it is that you follow, that you admire, that you look at, go look at where they speak. Go look at where they've spoken in the past, where they're speaking this year, and invest. Go show up in those rooms. Go to the events that they're speaking at. Look. So that's one thing I like to do. Pick 2 or 3 people that you really admire, and that's another way. So pick 2 or 3 people that you really admire, that you really look up to, and go look at their websites. Go Google what events are they going to be speaking at this year. What events have they spoken at in the past? So that now gives you at least a screening of, okay, if they thought it was worth their time to be in this room, then and they're also achieving results that I want to achieve, it might be worthwhile for me to be in those rooms. And then that's a great place to start your research. So I would recommend that as well. And I think thirdly, like I mentioned, is so join coaching programs, masterminds, whatever, that have group coaching calls or in-person events. Look at find 2 to 3 people that you admire. Look at what events they have spoken at or are speaking at. That's a great place to start for research. And the third is think about what your real objective is. So you need to get specific. And if you're not yet specific, attending some events will help you hopefully get specific. But think about what results you want. So I know for me, I'm trying to build my business model in a very specific way. So I want to be in rooms with other people who have successfully built their business model in that way, or that, like I said, I may be struggling with Facebook ads. Maybe I attend Facebook's conference next year, or whatever it is. Find out what gaps you have in your business and where it is that you actually intentionally want to grow. And then get on Google and research what conferences or events specialize in that topic, and kind of cross breed between that. So those are things that I personally do. and I think will really help you. But like a lot of it is, it's not that it's hard to do it. It's not that it's hard to find events. Like there are like there's so many events on a daily basis, weekly basis around the world. But a lot of it is just discomfort. Like maybe you've never been on a plane before. I don't know. Maybe you've never invested in yourself and like you never thought it to be worthy to like pay for a ticket to a conference that your company didn't pay for you to go to. Or maybe it's like, I'm allowed to like leave my child and my husband at home to go for a weekend to go attend an event. Like that might be uncomfortable for you. Or maybe you're leaving your dog for the first time. I don't know. But it's not that it's hard. I think a lot of the time it's just uncomfortable, especially if it's the first time. And definitely don't be the one that's like, I'm not going to go because my friend won't go. Your friend might be a turtle and you are a giraffe. You need to get moving. And I love going to events where I go by myself. And I make sure even when I do go to events with friends or whatever, that my friends also understand that we are not about to be attached to the hip every step of the way through this event. Because that's how you meet new people. Like I love going to events by myself. The first few times I did it, it was terrifying because I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to talk to people. Like what if everybody's already going to have their own cliques? Like I made up all these excuses, but you need to push past them and keep it pushing. Like you need to go be great. And when you go by yourself, it really does allow you to be open to trying new things and not limiting what you expose yourself to based off of what your friend wants to do or not wants to do. Like, do you, boo-boo. Do you. So that's, I know I wanted to answer that question for somebody who asked me yesterday. So I'll answer this last question. She said, Janae said, how do you get the attention of people you want to collaborate with, but you're not quite on their level? Produce excellence. Like keep showing up, be consistent. You will get noticed. I was talking to somebody yesterday about speaking engagements. Every single speaking engagement I have received since I started my business, I did not pitch myself for. Seriously, Black enterprise, I did not pitch myself for. Like the reason people notice excellence, people notice people who are consistent. Like they may not be liking on your comments, they may not be sharing your posts, they may not be watching all of your stuff, but people notice excellence. Like there's not that many people going the extra mile. There's not that many people on that road. So I think one thing that I recommend to everybody is, how do I get the attention? It's like, be so good they can't not notice you, right? Show up so consistent. Like, Jay, you always doing lives. Like, bro, I see you everywhere. Good. Because I'm consistent. I'm constantly showing up. I'm delivering a value. And it's day in and day out. So like even I'm really honored because I'm speaking at Summit 21 this week. I didn't pitch myself for that. I definitely didn't notice they knew me. And it was just, that blew my mind. Or like, when I was at the My Taught You retreat this past a couple weeks ago, I sat next to Morgan, who is the founder of Blavity, and she knew who I was. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's because like you show up, like deliver value, be so good they can't not notice you. That's the first thing I would recommend is that. And then second, like everybody that you admire is on social media, like engage in their content, show up to their events, like pop in their thread, like, comment on their posts, like their posts, share their posts. People notice that, like I noticed the ride or dies and the top fans of the Hawk Hustle team because they show up. Make yourself visible, like I just think it's, in today's world, there's so many ways to get noticed with no cost attached to it except for your time and your effort than it has been ever in the past before. But yeah, I would like support. Like if you want to collaborate, start positioning yourself now, right? Like get ready, be ready so you don't have to get ready type of thing. And I say this again because I think it's just, I don't know, that's what's worked for me is every speaking engagement that I got because I never pitched myself. I don't have a media kit. I do not have a speaker's kit. I do not have anything formal that you're supposed to have to get paid speaking engagements. I don't have any of that. But the reason I don't have a speaker's reel, I don't have any of that. But the reason why I think I've been qualified is because I do video content. And I think a lot of the time, events of hosts who are picking their speakers, the fact that I speak all the time, they're like, if she can speak on camera this consistently and her message is this consistent across the board, we know she'll be okay on stage. So my live stream videos have served as my media reel, as my media kit, as my highlight reel, like as everything. So I can't stress that enough, the importance of you being consistent in your craft, you consistently communicating a streamlined message. You know, like if you will evolve and you will grow and you will change, but there should be some consistency in like what you're saying, and like what's being represented across all platforms. Like Google yourself, and do that self-check, but then like start showing up, you know, pop in people's comments. If they're hosting an event or going to be at an event, speaking at an event, go attend that event. Go be the one that stands in line after they get done speaking to like, you know, say hello and like let them know who you are. My leak always says, I know I've heard her say this quite a few times, my leak Teal, she'll say there's like a 3 points of contact rule. Like she does not ask anybody for a collaboration or ask for anything until she's met them at least 3 times. And I think that's a really, really cool rule. But, you know, make 3 points of contact, but you will get noticed. And then, like I said, put yourselves in positions to be seen and to be noticed. Like, but I think if you're producing excellence, you will get noticed. And especially in our space, like there's not that many people who are, like the bubble of the people who are operating in excellence really ain't that big. Somebody said one of my best decisions was stalking you after an event. Or like I said, like, you know, another thing is like meet up offline. So, you know, whenever I go out of town, I do this way more now than I did in the past. But every time I go out of town, I try to host a meetup or I try to connect with somebody who I know lives in that city. Every single time I go, I travel. So like, you know, for Summit 21, we're hosting a meetup on Thursday night. I don't know how many of y'all about to come out, but I'm so excited to meet you guys in real life. But every time that you travel, like meet up with somebody and slide in their DMs. Like if y'all know I'm from Detroit, if you come to D-Town, like slide in my DMs and ask me to go to coffee. Or whoever it is that you want to collaborate with or meet with on a deeper level. Like if you're in their city, reach out to them and, hey, you know, I've been following you. I'll be really, you know, whatever it is, like give a thoughtful pitch, show that you gave some effort. But also like be showing up and be liking and in their comments and all that type of stuff beforehand. And when you do ask, like if you have a consistent thread or a consistent theme of what you're doing, you know, like you just never know. So that's my recommendation on that one. Y'all, I'm full. Today's going to be a great day. The first Tuesday of every month is such a special Tuesday for me because that's the day I have my coaching call with my services that sell students. So if you guys are in STS, get ready for our Q&A call. And this afternoon, I meet with my coach today, which I'm excited about. And then I also have a team meeting today. So it's like full of meetings today. So I'm excited for that. But let's get ready for the pose because I really, really like the thing that brings me the most joy is not just inspiring you, not just motivating you, but that you actually implement what you're learning, that you process what we've talked about today and just decide what is one actionable step I can take to move me forward. And I love it when you share it with me. And that's like the best, that's the thing that keeps my cup full when I'm in moments of, why am I doing this? I want to quit everything and I need to go get a job. I read through your guys' DMs. I have like a happy folder of all the praise and all the, you know, like results you guys have been able to get. It brings me joy. So I'm going to pose so you guys can do a screenshot. Okay. And one with the mug. Screenshot that. Slide in my DMs, tag me on Instagram stories, tag me on Facebook, and just let me know what your top takeaway was from today or whatevs. Just share the glory, share the goodness, and let me know how you're going to go out there and be great today. So I love you guys. Be fabulous. And I will talk to y'all soon. Bye, y'all.